All right, next we'll be having Bit Andrew. All right, the topic that I'll be talking today is from Bitcoin stamping towards bit mapping. All hands for Andrew, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrew here from Crypto Asia. Personally, I'm into Ordinals since last year, January, when it first started. At that time, the inscription were below, I think, 10,000. And today, I would like to share two very interesting projects built in Bitcoin, which is one is within the Ordinal ecosystem. Another one is, I would say, a friendly competitor to Ordinals. But first of all, let me get my clicker. Sorry. So these two projects is Bitcoin Stamp and Bitmap. Of course, it's not founded by me. I'm just part of the community. I'm very interested in these two projects. That's why I want to share about it. But first of all, let me talk with you all about what is the four main pillars in early civilization. Of course, this is in my own opinion. It's not a dictionary definition. The first pillar is faith. Everyone seems to seek for, to believe in something. Okay, once they found something that they believe in, their religion or something, then they will proceed to look for the pillar two. What is pillar two? Pillar two is value. Throughout the centuries, we seek for the best tools to store our value. What is value? Values to me is times labor equals to value. So from the ancient barter trade to trading for shells, and then the recent paper money and digital money, which is centralized, and come to today, decentralized crypto money. And the best one is, of course, Bitcoin, because it is the most secure, decentralized, and open source money network. So once we found the best tool to store, transfer, and preserve our value, do we stop at that? If you look back to the many civilizations, we didn't stop at this. We will do more with our value. We doesn't just hold it and then just, don't do anything with it. The third one is art, early civilization. Therefore, you can see at the ancient ages, before anything complex is built, people will tend to inscribe art or messages on rock, on wall, in the cave, on the floor. Those are all artifacts. At the time, all this seems like worthless, okay? But after many years, archaeology or researcher find that, wow, it's so interesting. And then these old artifacts become antiques and become very valuable in the physical world. Why? Because each of these old artifacts, 1,000 years ago, come with story, embedded with messages from the ancestors. That's where the value comes in. So, from the old physical art till now, we have digital art, which is centralized, and digital items in gaming, which is owned by a company, up until the recent proof of stake NFT, and come to today. Finally, Bitcoin, we have NFT. By the way, we don't call it NFT. In Bitcoin, we call it digital artifacts. Okay, this term is encouraged by Casey Rodemore, which is the founder of Ordinals. And just to remind you all, Ordinals is start with art. Casey Rodermore motive is purely use Ordinals to encode art. That's it, nothing more. What he say is he love weird art and also maybe rare sets, rarity sets. But you know, Bitcoin is open source. Nobody can control. That's why the degens builders come in to build token standard and then L2. All those Casey Rodermore do not like. But it's open source. So we have more now. Once we settled with the art, okay, start people inscribing in art, like now, we inscribing digitally on the Bitcoin blockchain. So, who do you know? After many, many years later, maybe some of the early ordinals, at least, could be valuable. So what is the fourth thing that is the key element? I will talk about that at the end. But now, let's talk about digital art, decentralized on-chain digital art in Bitcoin. What we are looking for, always all the collectors is looking for this. If you are wonder why we're spending a lot of money on this worthless, so-called worthless stuff, worthless art or garbage in the Bitcoin blockchain, is because collectors tend to look for all these measures. We look for the oldest, the first, have to be on-chain and scarce, low supply collection. And probably after many years later, I believe this will happen. If you look at Bitcoin is a global monetary network in many years later, then definitely there will be a digital archaeology come into the Bitcoin network and look for the weird stuff, art stuff, which is, you know, many, many years, or at least when it's first started, which is Ordinals art, which is one of the first. Of course, before that, there's Counterparty, but Ordinals certainly is the first one that got mainstream eyes. Now, today, I would like to talk a little bit a different protocol, which is Bitcoin Stamp. Bitcoin Stamp is a bit different from Ordinals. Ordinals, we encode the data, any data, music, art, any HTML files or mini games on the witness field. But Bitcoin Stamp encode the data directly on the UTXO sets, which makes it technically more immutable and permanent. Even the miners come in consensus, want to prune it, it's impossible to prune it. Bitcoin Stamp is founded by Mike in Space. He's an OG from the Counterparty, and also he's an OG Bitcoiner. Today, suppose we invited him to come over, but he recorded a video for us. I will show it at the end of my session. So how do we inscribe art on Bitcoin? At the old days, which is last year, January, no one can encode any art unless he is running a Bitcoin node. So at that time, it encourages a lot of people install a Bitcoin node and run it, which is good. Make the network more decentralized. But now, there's a lot of front-end website. You can literally just use your finished art and upload to a website. If we talk about Ordinals, can use Ordzar. If you talk about Bitcoin Stamp, just use stampart.stampchain.io, and you can key in your collection name, your personal name, and then pay a transaction fee. By the way, Bitcoin Stamp, if you want to stamp the art on into Bitcoin on chain, I think it is 5 times, at least 5 times more expensive than you inscribing in Ordinals. Okay, because you are encoding onto the UTXO sets. This is some of the art that is displayed. And Ordinals to date have 7, just now I say last year January it was under 10,000 inscription, right? Now Ordinals is about 75 million inscriptions, more or less. And Bitcoin stamp, because it is more expensive, and then it is 100 times unpopular than Ordinals, which is under radar. Now the stamp number is about 700,000. Okay. What makes it valuable is, like what I say, you tend to look for the older or the first. So any number below 100,000 inscription or 100,000 stamp, in a long period of time, it could somewhat valuable if you're looking to collect some art in Bitcoin. And now is the mini bear market in Ordinals and Bitcoin stamp and the Bitcoin ecosystem, at least at the collectible side. You can, look around. These 3 collection is 3 of the more popular collection in Bitcoin stamps. Oh yeah, the AVIM, AVIME, is they use like a recursive method, like in the Ordinals ecosystem. Of course, Bitcoin stamp also have their own token standard, okay, which is called SRC20. In Ordinals, it's BRC20. In Bitcoin stamp, it's SRC20. Now you can simply deploy any token as your own token on a front-end website. You can put in the supply and so on, how many min. And people will just go and min it and pay for the network fee. This is the 2 most popular token within the Bitcoin stamp ecosystem. The first one is Stamp, now at 13 million market cap. The second one is Kevin, 3 million market cap, which is about 700 times smaller market cap than the top token in Rune. Okay, now we're looking at the art, the potential of digital collectibles in Bitcoin. The global NFT today, market cap 65 billions. And the Bitcoin Ordinals market cap is 1 billion, maybe 65 times smaller than the proof of stake NFT market cap. Bitcoin stamp is 10 million, which is 100 times smaller than Ordinals. So you see the potential there if Bitcoin stamp doesn't go away as a protocol. Okay, how about token? Okay, we compare the token market cap. ERC20 tokens, market cap 350 billions globally, just on Ethereum, ERC. We don't talk about Solana and other proof of stake blockchain. BRC20 tokens now estimated 1.5 billion market cap. Runes token, 1 billion. Bitcoin stamp token, 50 million, which is many times smaller than Ordinals. So there's the potential there. So we compare the token market cap of the first token in Ordinals and Bitcoin stamp. Audi value at 700 millions. Okay, anyone inscribed Audi last year, you just need to pay a few dollars of inscriptions. You get 1,000 tokens, which now is about $40 per token. And stamps, when back at the old days, you get 100,000 tokens per inscriptions. Okay, now we're talking about the 4th final element, which we doesn't stop at just art. Now we go to the final pillar that early civilization tend to build on, which is space. At the old days, until now, we are building in the physical world, physical space. And 20 years ago, changes. People start to build on the digital realm, but it's built on the centralized digital space, or I'll call it, you are building a centralized digital revolution. Now, today, we are on a juncture that we want to explore to build a decentralized digital revolution. Okay, so from these two pictures, you know, the left one is physical world, the right is Metaverse. Of course, some of you will think that Metaverse, you know, is a garbage idea, but I think this will become a reality very soon, whether we like it or not, because from all the indicators I see around me, whether it's the invisible hand or the elites around the world, they are preparing this for us, okay, which is a centralized metaverse, where if we don't do anything to build a decentralized one, we will have to use the centralized metaverse, which the algorithm, AI algorithm, will dictate what information that we should receive, what algorithm that will trigger us or influence us to make the next decision, to tell us you are making the wrong decision. AI, centralized AI is best making the decision for you. Okay, so at the time, probably we don't have any chance to say no. So what we are doing now, actually, from the second one, value, to the third one, art, and now space, we try to build a decentralized version. It's not to replace the centralized. Okay, at least when the centralized AI thingy happen, we have a choice, we have an option to choose which one we want to be in. So this is the key message that I want to tell everyone. Okay, this is the only time that we able to make a difference, because the next generation is a blank paper. They do not know anything. They will just take in what centralized tell them to do. So we now stand in the middle. We know the past, there's a physical world exists before, and all the progress, and up until now, we have a choice to build a decentralized one. What do we do? I estimate the time is about 10 years. If these 10 years we doesn't do anything, we are gone. Okay, so at least in Ethereum we see, or proof of stake blockchain, they try to build a few metaverse, which is Sandbox, Decentraland, Somnium Space. But ultimately, all these projects, they have a team, they have a company to steer the direction of the project, of the metaverse. So that's good, but still better than the centralized metaverse, a trial one, but it's not as good because, for example, when I own a Sandbox estate, a land, 3 years ago, I need to wait for 2 years for Sandbox to open up so that I can deploy my experience. So I cannot build now, cannot build right away. I still need to wait for the management to somehow, you know, yeah. And I want to build a non-voxel metaverse. I could not. And I want to use VR, but I cannot. Okay, so this is something that is less perfect, some of the flaw. And maybe some of you will ask now, hey, does Bitcoin have a metaverse? My answer is yes. Bitcoin have a metaverse, and we are in a juncture that most of the people, even in the Ordinals, even KC, do not like it. And most of the community, some of the builders, of course, a lot of builders, but some of the collectors, maybe they are less active in the Bitmap ecosystem. So let me explain what is Bitmap. Bitmap is a Metaverse standard in Bitcoin, which ultimately is a community consensus based on a JSON file inscribed last year. And what interesting is the bitmap theory is built based on the Bitcoin block data, okay? And not based on, it cannot be changed on a management decision. You can go to bitfit.live or bitmap community to check each block data. So how does it come by? Okay, Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, there's one new blocks produced. So each block, the bitmap theory say you can go to Ordinals to inscribe the block number. Let's say today is 870,000, the new block coming out. So we inscribe 870,000, and then there will become a new land. That means every day there will be 144 new land supply coming out, okay? And each land value differently. Obviously, the earliest land between 1 to 10,000 is somewhat more valuable. The floor price of Bitmap each is about $50 now. But the inscribe cost is about $1 to $5. Now, if you want to try to inscribe a new one, it will be a little bit difficult because people will using bot to inscribe. So the new people have to buy in the marketplace. Okay, this is all the bitmap shape. Okay, each boxes is one transaction. Okay, this one is mempool.space. So you can see this is one of the example. Okay, block 863653, and then you just go to this website unisat.io and key in this number, block number .bitmap, and then you pay for the transaction fee. And on a first come first serve basis, if you can get it, then it become a valid Metaverse Bitmap land in your wallet. Okay, so now there's more than 100 builders or 100 projects built within the Bitmap ecosystem. There's game, front end, or you can create any Metaverse asset, DeFi protocol, new standard, a protocol within Bitmap, Bitmap Explorer, Metaverse building tools. You can go to bitmap.directory and look for all the projects. Okay. This maybe you can take a screenshot of this one if you want. All the projects in Bitmap and all the influencers you can follow. Okay, so these 4 elements is my message today. Last projected market cap, global art, 550 billions. And Metaverse projected market cap is 500 billion. 550 billion global art is now. It's already happened. But the below 500 billion Metaverse market cap is projected to be happen in 2030. Okay, now I would like to end with the founder, Mike in Space video.
Hi, how are you doing today? I was asked to record a little something for this conference. So first I'll introduce myself. I'm Mike in Space, content creator and longtime Bitcoiner. I got involved in Bitcoin in 2013, and then I got involved in tokens on Bitcoin in 2016 using the Counterparty platform. Counterparty has been around for quite a while. It started in 2014, and it basically was the genesis of NFTs, right? Creating art in a tokenized way on Bitcoin. And so that's been around for a decade at this point. More recently, I decided to do something very similar to Ordinals. Now, for those familiar, Ordinals is a way of inscribing art onto the Bitcoin blockchain. And having come from the world of Counterparty, I figured we could do something very similar, but in a way that I think is more resilient. So, like Ordinals, we are storing the art on-chain. They're not pointers like you'd find in many other NFT ecosystems like Ethereum or Solana. The art is on-chain, and we call this Bitcoin stamps. And we store it in the UTXO set as well as within the block data. Unlike Ordinals, where the data is stored within the witness data, and that was sort of a soft fork upgrade to Bitcoin a few years ago. The witness data, for those who aren't aware, is sort of this prunable area of the blockchain that users can discard if they're running a full node. They don't even have to download it if they don't want. It's sort of this optional part of the blockchain. Whereas the UTXO set is integral to the blockchain. If you're running a node, you're running the UTXO set. You've got the data within the blocks within the UTXO set. So this just makes it a lot more resilient in terms of the permanence of the data, right? So Bitcoin stamps, as I've said, we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary here. We're closing in on 1 million stamps. We're currently around 700,000 to 800,000. And as you can see from the backdrop behind me, there's a lot of pixel art within the set. There's also like more elaborate art using SVG and all sorts of things like recursion. It's just a lot of fun. You know, there's a vibrant art community within Bitcoin stamps, and I'd recommend checking it out if you're an artist or collector and looking for something that's a little under the radar. You know, everyone's kind of focused on ordinals and these bigger protocols. And so I would say, yeah, take a look at Bitcoin stamps. You can do that by going to bitcoinstamps.xyz. You can find us on Telegram. You can follow StampChain on X, or get in touch with me and I'll let you know. Yeah, Bitcoin stamps.
Cool. Thank you so much.